Over the last decade, Quebec has governed increasingly through protection. Protection of language, protection of culture, protection of identity, and protection of the Francophone majority. That instinct makes sense. Being a minority culture in North America, Quebec always lives under constant demographic pressure. But when protection becomes a dominant reflex, it starts to shape everything. And the current immigration controversy is forcing a harder question. Can this model of protection hold over time? Bonjour Canada, welcome to Distinct, Quebec Politics with an Accent, a podcast where we try to make sense of Quebec politics for a Canadian audience. This week, let's talk immigration. Over the past 15 years, identity politics in Quebec has tightened. We've seen secularism legislation. We see stronger language laws, the preemptive use of the notwithstanding clause. We've seen the debate on lowering threshold of immigration and a direct messaging about protecting the Francophone majority. This was not imposed, it was voted for. The government of the CAQ has been elected twice on strong majorities. Voters supported the politics of protection, and that support is rooted in history. Francophones represent about 2% of North America. In that context, insecurity is not imagined. The fear of disappearing as a language, as a culture, creates a survival instinct, and that instinct can dominate everything. It protects, it unites, and it mobilizes. But when survival becomes the main governing logic, it changes the tone of politics. And that's where tensions begin. Take the PEC, at the center of the current immigration controversy. The PEC, the Programme Expérience Québec, was a fast-track immigration pathway for international students and temporary workers who studied or worked in Quebec in French. It was a demanding program, but predictable. It sent a clear message. Learn French, work here, build your life here, and you can stay. The government replaced the PEC program with a new program, a more restrictive program based on invitation in an effort to lower immigration thresholds. You can agree or disagree with that decision, but it was made legitimately by an elected government. But the way it was implemented created the real instability. There were zero transitional measures for people already in the system. Families who studied here, worked here, built their lives here, sent their children to school here, spoke French. They were all told all of a sudden, just too bad, we might not need you anymore. And that's after most of them, a lot of them, were recruited on the basis of their competence and jobs available here in Quebec. Small and medium businesses in the regions of Quebec already facing a labor shortage are now going to be even more affected. Public services, healthcare, education, daycare rely heavily on a workforce from abroad. Not renewing their stay would put into peril services to Quebecers. Facing all these consequences, something unusual happened. Mayors in Francophone region, universities, healthcare administration, business groups, labor unions, community groups, all started to speak in similar terms. Voices that rarely aligned to reject rigidity. What we are seeing is not a simple fight between openness and identity. It is a structural tension. Quebec wants to protect its linguistic and cultural foundation. But immigration is deeply connected to its economy and the survival of many of its regions. This is no longer symbolic. It's practical now. Hospitals, schools, small towns, local businesses. When Francophone mayors say immigration is necessary to avoid an economic decline, that carries a lot of political weight. In Quebec, elections are won in Francophone regions, and that reality changes the debate. After following Quebec politics for more than 30 years, what strikes me is not the policy change, but the climate it creates. There's a real difference between governing through protection and governing through belonging. Protection asks, what do we need to restrict and control in order to survive? Belonging asks, who wants to build here, participate, and invest in our language? Both responses come from insecurity, but they lead to very different political environments. The PEC controversy will pass, but it has opened a bigger question. Is Quebec really stronger when it mainly focuses on protection, or when it builds belonging around language and culture? The identity question is not going away. Demography is not going away. And that choice between protection and belonging will define the next chapter of Quebec politics. This is Distinct, Quebec Politics with an Accent. I'm Farouk Karim. New episode every Thursday, 7 a.m. À la semaine prochaine.